Hi everybody, welcome to Deb's Way, and I am of course Deb. And you're back here in my sewing room this afternoon. We're going to be working on the Pioneer Sampler Quilt. I've got 2 blocks to get done. I want to get, well, I have to finish July's. Yeah, I haven't cut out, okay. I just never got to sewing it yet, so I'm working on that today. And then I also have the August block cut out, and I want to get working on that too. Hopefully I'll get both of them done today. But first of all, I'm working on July. Let me show you what that one is. It's a little tricky, but that, let me see if it'll focus in. That is the quilt block for July. It's called Illinois, just a simple name, Illinois. It seems like a lot of these were named after states. Okay, and this one has a little story to go along with it. That's what I like about this book, is that there are little stories to go along with the quilt block. I think it'd be kind of interesting to read about. So anyway, let me show you what I've got lined up here for the July block. I'm going to start sewing on it. What I have here is the pieces that I'm going to be working with on this block. For the light colors, I've got one 5x10 rectangle, one 6.5 inch square, and I think I need another one of those. Okay, and 2 3¼ squares, which I'll be cutting apart as well, cutting on the diagonal per the directions. But so far you start with a square. Of my medium color, my first medium color, I have one 3¼ inch square, which is this one. And then of my second medium color, I have one 3 3/8 square. And then of my dark color, I've got a 5x10 rectangle, and then I have a 5¼ inch square. And it looks like I will be cutting another 6.5 inch square of my light material here. We'll see. Sometimes the cutting directions here are not that perfectly clear. So Miss Eleanor Burns, I wish that there was a video to go along with this quilt itself, so that I could see exactly what you cut out, how you cut it out, and then how you put the squares together. Some of the squares in the beginning were pretty easy to follow on the directions, but as we get more advanced here now, the squares are getting more difficult. So I will do my best to do this one. I'm going to get started here. Let's see here. First it says to start with taking the rectangles light and dark, putting them together, sewing them together, and then slicing them into the size pieces that I need. Let me get that started. I have my rectangle pieces together, right sides together, my light and my dark, and I have divided it into 5-inch square blocks here, and then gone from corner to corner on a diagonal, and then in the opposite direction on the next 5-inch square diagonal. I'm going to sew 1/4 inch on each side of this diagonal line on both blocks, and then cut the blocks in 2. Here I go. So after cutting, I've got 4 squares, light and dark. And I'm going to press these, they need pressing, and then trim them up to, let's see, square them up to 4.5 inch squares. That's what pieces I need. and the 5¼ inch dark square, right sides together, and I've centered the dark square on the light. I'm going to draw a diagonal line and then sew 1/4 inch on each side of that line. Now I'm going to cut down that middle line. I'm going to press both of these open, and then I'll see what my next step is. All right, next for these squares, it says to put right sides together with the opposite colors matched. So it would go like this, and to match the outer seams. Okay, I am matching the outer seams. Okay, and then it says to draw a diagonal line across, and I'm going to sew within 1/4 inch on each side of that line again, and then cut the pieces apart. I'll bring it back when that's all cut up, okay, and show you I'm going to have several pieces out of these 2 blocks. I've got my line drawn down the center, and now I'm going to sew within 1/4 inch on each side. And then I'm going to cut in between. Now, have a yarn. And then I'm going to cut down that middle line. Okay. This is what my pieces look like so far. And I know that I'm going to be cutting them in half somehow here. I'm not sure. Oh, I think I'm going to be going this way. I got to press it first though, and I'll bring it back. This is what I end up with when I cut things apart. 4 pieces like this. Okay? And I have to do it again. So here's my other 6½ inch light square, and then I'm going to do my first medium, right sides together, centering that, and do the same thing as I did with this first square. Put it all together, sew it, and cut it. And I'll show you when I get it all done. Let me get working on that. Okay, I've got my blocks all done here. Now the next step is to put them together in stacks of 4. I've got 4 in each stack. This is my first medium, my dark. I'm going to put these together. And how I do it is just match it like this. It says to do it like this, so that I will be sewing it together down the middle to get flying geese. And I'll be sewing these 4 piles together. So let me put them back in place and get sewing, and I'll show you when I'm done. My flying geese are done, and I just need to trim them up here, neaten them up. But they are finished, and now I move on to the next step. So I do need to cut these into triangle sizes right now, and then I'm going to take the center block and match it with this. So this is my centerpiece. It's a 3 3/8 square, and oops, okay, this one needs a trimming just a little bit. It didn't quite go through. Okay, and I've cut my blocks, my light blocks, into triangles, which are going to go around here like this. So let me get that sewn together. I have my centerpiece all done, and let me get things put around it, and I'll show, well, how do things go around it? Let me see. First, it shows this, and then something like this, and then that. Can you see it all? And then I need flying geese going this way, flying geese going that way, and then a piece here. Whoops, wrong way. This goes that way. Flying geese again going down, and then this piece that way. Let me get it all sewn together, and I'll bring it back. Okay, I don't need my glasses anymore. It's been an afternoon in my sewing room, let me tell you. Let me check. I was gonna say that I'm hoping the August block, oh good, it's not flying geese. Flying geese is a challenge because it's so many points that you have to get lined up just perfect, and usually I am not that perfect, but hey, it works out. But first of all, let me just tell you about the August block. Is called Salt Lake City, and I've got the fabric all cut for that, so I'm ready to go. But it's late in the day here, and I'm gonna start fixing supper, so I'm not going to continue on sewing this evening. I'll do that another day. I did finish the July. Once again, that's Illinois, and that was a lot of points and flying geese and all that kind of stuff to match up. Let me show you what I did. First of all, let me remove some of the loose threads here. Yeah. This is my block for July. So, I'm done sewing for the day. I hope you're all having a good one out there. You take care, and I'll be talking to you again real soon. But it's going to be bye for this time. My quilt is going to be blues and greens and purples and that sort of thing. You know, I just know I don't seem to be able to find a lot of different fabric, but that's okay. You make it your own color scheme. And that's what I'm doing.